Hey there guys, I'm back to another game review. Today we'll be taking a look at God of War on the PlayStation 4. When this game was initially shown off during E3 2016, I was very interested. I'm not the biggest God of War fan, mind you. I got into the series around 2009 when the first PlayStation 3 collection came out. It stayed pretty faithful to the originals on the PS2, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to finally get into this franchise. I played and finished every single God of War game thus far except for Ascension. I haven't finished it yet, but I could see why a lot of people deem it their favorite in the series. Personally, my favorite is God of War 3. I even replayed it on the PlayStation 4 when that remastered version came out. Going back to the initial E3 presentation, it showed Kratos in a Norse mythology setting, but still rocking the pale skin and the red tattoos. He also has a son. This showcase revealed the gameplay style that is going to be completely different from the other God of War games. Instead of a hack and slash gameplay style, we got a much more traditional action adventure kind of gameplay style, if I can say that. Overall, this initial showcase for God of War PS4 showed us a very different God of War game. As the months came closer and closer to the final release, my thoughts on the game stayed the same from the E3 2016 presentation. I was interested, but I wasn't necessarily excited for the game until the reviews came out and everyone was giving this game perfect scores. So do I believe this game to be 10 out of 10 worthy, or was everyone just letting certain flaws on this game go under the rug? Let's find out, starting with the story. As set up from the E3 presentation, Kratos still takes center stage, but now with a son Atreus and a deceased wife in a Norse mythology setting. As her final wish, she wants you and Atreus to go to the highest point of the realms and let her ashes spread there. For the rest of the game, it's up to Kratos and Atreus to fulfill her final wish. The plot is very simple on paper, but is more complicated as the game goes on. You'll meet new characters along the way, which at first might seem like throwaway characters that you'll never see again, but you do interact with them a great deal as the plot moves along. The relationship between Kratos and Atreus is developed really well. They both have their own problems, with some going away and new ones arising. This father-son duo was really enjoyable to see develop. Atreus isn't annoying at all, which makes his character so much more likable. Also, he still acts like a kid in some regards, thinking he can handle the world on his own, as Kratos tells him that he can't. Speaking of Kratos, he is fantastic in this game. He is now a level-headed retired god trying to train his son in survival. There's a lot of mystery to this plot as well. I was quite surprised by some of the details revealed in this story, which is great. I love it when games put surprises in for players to see and react to. But because there's so much mystery to the plot, like who's Atreus' mom and stuff like that, it took a while for me to finally get invested into the story. Around the halfway point is where I really got into the game and started to enjoy it a lot more. Other than that, I think the plot is still pretty good. If you can get past the halfway point like I did, you'll enjoy this game a lot more, especially to those who have some experience with the God of War franchise. Since I know how the game ends now, if I were to replay the game, the first half probably wouldn't be as drawn out and sluggish as I initially thought it would be. But yeah, for first time playthrough players, the beginning might drag on for a bit. Moving on to the gameplay, Kratos now wields a mythical axe instead of the Blades of Chaos. First time using the axe, I instantly fell in love. The power you feel from hitting enemies is so satisfying, and the combos you can do is pretty nutty. There's also a blocking / parrying mechanic, which is key to being successful in combat. You can't just mash the attack buttons like in previous God of War games. You have to be strategic in taking out your foes, or else you'll die a lot. It does take some getting used to, especially for someone like myself who doesn't play games like Dark Souls, where this kind of combat is pretty common. Your son is also very helpful in combat by throwing arrows at enemies and holding them down for you to kill them. Atreus is another key to being very successful in combat. He does so much damage to enemies, along with pinning them down for you to nail the final blow. It's also very important for you to keep track of your equipment and your skill tree. The equipment is pretty much your armor and your weapons. You'll want to keep everything up to date because this will make killing enemies and surviving against enemies a whole lot easier. Also, don't skip out on Atreus like I did in the beginning. Like I said, the boy is key to being successful in combat, so make sure you give him the upgrades that he deserves. The skill tree will grant you new combat abilities and attributes. Abilities like swinging your axe as you evade enemies, or attributes like stunning enemies with your arrows. The overall gameplay is really fun. Never a dull moment when fighting in this game. The basic enemies bring a certain level of challenge to the table, along with the bosses being very fun to take down. The upgrading of equipment and skill tree is very fleshed out and a breath of fresh air for a God of War game. I know that you could upgrade stats for Kratos in the previous games, but it was never like this. Even if I do get my ass kicked 9 out of the 10 times, I still had a blast playing God of War on the PlayStation 4. Presentation-wise, God of War PS4 is pushing the console to its absolute limits. It's crazy how beautiful this game looks, and it's not even on the PlayStation 4 Pro. The voice performances were great all around. No one really sounded bad in the character that they were playing. The overall presentation is just really good and sets the bar for future PlayStation 4 exclusives. So what are my final thoughts on God of War PS4? This game is fantastic in every sense of the word. Besides from the story being a little sluggish in the beginning, everything else is really good. Once the story starts picking up, it really starts to pick up. The gameplay is fun in all aspects, really satisfying blows to enemies with his new weapon of choice, and the overall presentation doesn't do anything wrong. If you have yet to pick up God of War PS4, do yourself a favor and pick it up. This is a definite Game of the Year contender for 2018, and I wouldn't be surprised if it won. This game really sets the bar for future PlayStation 4 exclusives on a technical aspect, along with a story aspect as well. This father-son duo of Kratos and Atreus was amazing. The last PlayStation duo to be this good was Joel and Ellie on The Last of Us. So yeah, that is my review of God of War PS4. Have you played God of War PS4? And if so, what do you think about the game yourself? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below and try to keep it spoiler free. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys have not already, you can subscribe. I put new videos up every single Saturday. You want to follow my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter, you can do that as well. I try my best to put up just my future videos. If you guys want to see me live stream every single Sunday, 12 p.m. EST, follow my Twitch page, link in the description below. I will not be streaming tomorrow. Once again, I apologize. I just need to go and make sure that I do not fail this semester because we are approaching the end of the semester, so I want to make sure that I am not screwing anything up. But yeah, I think that is all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching my God of War PS4 review once again. And I'll see you guys next time with more videos. Game on, gamers.